Listen up, because the situation in Minnesota is rapidly evolving from a quiet offseason into a full-blown franchise crisis. We are hearing whispers that could fundamentally alter the trajectory of the Vikings for the next 5 years. This is not just about roster moves, it is about power dynamics, superstar egos, and the most important position in sports. The foundation is shaking. If you thought the offseason was going to be smooth sailing, you are dead wrong. We have breaking reports on Justin Jefferson's patience running thin, a shock veteran quarterback link, and critical combine meetings. Everything is on the line right now.
We begin with a story that should send shivers down the spine of every single person in the Vikings front office. According to emerging reports surfacing this week, there is a legitimate storm brewing regarding the face of this franchise, Justin Jefferson. Jay McCarthy as the undisputed starting quarterback for the 2026 season. This discontent is reportedly rooted deeply in either the current performance levels or the developmental trajectory of the young quarterback. Let's be very clear about what this means from a factual standpoint. The timeline here is critical. We are looking ahead to 2026, which implies that Jefferson is already projecting the team's ceiling with McCarthy under center, and he does not like what he sees. When a player of this caliber, a man who has reset the market and the record books, starts talking about drastic measures, you are looking at potential holdouts, trade requests, or a complete breakdown in locker room chemistry. This is the nightmare scenario. Now let me tell you what I think, because this is absolutely ridiculous. You have the best wide receiver on the planet Earth, a generational talent who catches everything thrown in his zip code, and he is looking at the quarterback situation and saying simply no. You do not alienate a Ferrari because you want to let a learner driver take the wheel. The Minnesota Vikings need to wake up and smell the coffee. J.J. McCarthy is not the guy. It is that simple. You cannot prioritize a draft pick, no matter how high he was taken, over a proven Hall of Fame caliber commodity who is in his prime right now. If Jefferson is threatening drastic action, that means he sees a losing culture developing, and he refuses to be a part of it. He wants to win Super Bowls, not babysit a development project that might not pan out until his prime is wasted. The audacity of the Vikings to even let this rumor get out there shows a disconnect between management and their star. You have to keep your best player happy, point blank, period. If he says the kid cannot play, then you better find someone who can. This creates a massive leverage problem for the front office. They have invested heavily in McCarthy, but can they afford to lose Jefferson's trust? This is a fork in the road that defines decades. And if they decide to pivot away from the youngster to appease the superstar, who on earth could they possibly bring in to fix this mess immediately?
If you want to stay ahead of these developing stories and get the raw, unfiltered truth about our team that the mainstream media glosses over, you need to subscribe right now. Join the family and never miss a critical update. This brings us directly to a bombshell report that dropped this Saturday, February 28th. Rumors are swirling with increasing intensity that Aaron Rodgers, assuming he does not choose retirement, could be parting ways with the Pittsburgh Steelers and eyeing Minnesota as his next destination for the 2026 season. Reports citing NFL insider Adam Schefter suggest that the Vikings are emerging as a fascinating alternative for the four-time MVP. This connects perfectly with the previous story. If the organization needs to pivot from a developing quarterback to satisfy a win-now receiver, Rodgers is the archetype. We are talking about a scenario where Rodgers leaves the AFC North to return to the division he owned for over a decade, pulling a move eerily similar to Brett Favre. The logic is sound from a personnel standpoint. Rodgers needs elite weapons to function at his age, and Minnesota offers the best weapon in the game. But let me pause and ask you, are we really doing this again? Are we really going to sign the Green Bay Packers legend to save our season? The emotional intensity of this move would be off the charts. I look at this and I see desperation, but I also see a glimmer of genius Jay McCarthy simply does not possess yet. If Justin Jefferson is unhappy with the youth movement, bringing in one of the greatest throwers of the football in history is the ultimate olive branch. It tells your superstar receiver that you are all in on winning a championship before his contract expires. However, the risk is astronomical. You are talking about a quarterback who creates headlines, creates drama, and demands total control. Can Kevin O'Connell coexist with Aaron Rodgers? Can this locker room handle that personality? But when you look at the alternative, alienating Jefferson and sinking into mediocrity, this might be the only card they have left to play. It is a high-stakes gamble. You bring in Rodgers to maximize the window, but you essentially admit that your draft strategy failed.
It is bold, it is controversial, and it is exactly the kind of move that shakes up the entire NFL. But here's the thing about bringing in an older quarterback who is not as mobile as he used to be. It doesn't matter if you have Rodgers, and it doesn't matter if you have Jefferson, if you cannot protect the pocket. A stationary target is a sitting duck in this league, which forces us to look at the trenches.
That leads us to the crucial work happening on the ground right now at the NFL Combine. While the rumors swirl about quarterbacks and receivers, the scouts are doing the dirty work. It was reported this Saturday that the Vikings held a highly productive formal meeting with Florida offensive lineman Austin Barber. This is not just a standard interview. This is a strategic investigation. Barber noted specifically that the team was focused on his work ethic and his versatility. In the world of scouting, those are code words for a player who can plug multiple holes and survive the grind of a 17-game season. Austin Barber is a player who has battled in the SEC, facing elite pass rushers week in and week out. The fact that the Vikings are zeroing in on him tells me they know exactly what their weakness is. They know that the interior of that line needs to be solidified if they want to run their offense effectively. Now, let me break this down with some passion, because people overlook the offensive line every single year. You can dream about Aaron Rodgers throwing rainbows to Justin Jefferson all day long, but if you do not have a dog like Austin Barber in the trenches, it is all a fantasy. The game is won and lost up front. I love that they are meeting with a guy known for his work ethic. We do not need prima donnas on the offensive line. We need bouncers. We need security guards. If the plan is to start a young McCarthy or an old Rodgers, the requirement is identical: protection. This meeting with Barber signifies that the front office is trying to build a wall. They are trying to ensure that whoever is taking the snaps in 2026 has more than 2 seconds to make a read. It shows a level of self-awareness that is encouraging. But is a rookie lineman from Florida enough to stabilize a unit that has been inconsistent? This is the domino effect. If they draft Barber and he hits, suddenly the quarterback looks better.
Fine.